What's going on, everyone? John Rentnish from Techno Buffalo here with a full review for you of LG's latest flagship. It says it right there. This is the G4. So let me give my disclaimer, like I usually do with all of my phones. I used this for 5 full days. We are testing the International Edition, so bear that in mind. As you can tell, no leather back. We've got all plastic here. Brandon did our written review. He's got some different opinions on stuff too, and a lot of more detail and things I'm going to talk about. So if you want to see that and also see full camera sample pictures, hit the link down below. It's also going to be in our lightning review format, so I'm going to jump from point to point kind of quickly just to get to all the questions that I had about the phone and hopefully the things that you want to know. All right, let's start with screen since it's got one, and that's what you're going to be doing most of your stuff on. So the G3 was one of the first QHD phones to hit the mass market. It packed all damn beautiful pixels, but its punch was a little weak. It was probably more Pacquiao than Mayweather. The G4 though has a 5.5 inch, same screen size, same resolution, QHD 2560 by 1440, but that's about where the similarities end. Colors here look way more accurate, definitely brighter. You got darker darks and whiter whites, and also surprisingly good visibility outdoors in direct sunlight, which I don't get a chance to see very often. Overall, the screen is just really nice to look at. If you thought the G3 screen looked a little washed out, the G4 screen looks gorgeous. So performance, you might be worried about the Snapdragon 808 this has versus say the 810 and the G Flex 2, but don't worry about it. It is still super fast, augmented with 3 gigs of RAM. Anything you want to open opens fast, games play quickly. I always associate the processor worry versus TV shopping. You've got 2 TV sets in front of you. One might look better on the wall next to the other one, but very rarely do you see both TV sets side by side. This is very fast, very capable, and also is not going to get on the hot side. Just saying, Snapdragon 810, been some rumors, but it's also going to be very battery efficient. So big thumbs up to the 808. So I don't put much stock in some of the standard tests that you can run on mobile devices, but I know you guys like to know what they are. So quadrant score, 24,858, and Antutu using 5.7 was 49,951, and of course testing it with 64-bit. All right, let's talk about that camera. That's a really big story about the G4, and I'm guessing it's going to be a huge push behind LG's upcoming advertising campaign. It is a big upgrade, not just like this big, like this giant big upgrade. So new sensor on board in the G4, it's a 16 megapixel sensor with a really bright f1.8 aperture lens. It's rounded out with that same laser autofocus that we saw on the G3. It also has a secondary sensor, which is going to give you better white balance and color. It's also rocking a brand new optical image stabilization that LG claims is 2 times better than the competition. So what's the moral here? Hot damn, that camera's good. It's the best camera I've used on a phone, period. But beyond that, it's not just good for a phone, it's great for any camera. The pictures just look kick-ass here in normal light. Color representation is accurate. The light performance is solid, but there is a little bit of noise on there. If you don't like the way the photos look though, you can always just friggin' shoot in RAW and tweak them however you want. LG also has a new manual mode here, which is pretty sweet to use, but you really got to know how to tweak all those settings. So if you like to get into DSLR, you're going to love manual mode here. Laser autofocus still takes a little bit of time to find its focal point and sometimes doesn't always find it. It's a small quibble, but for the most part, it works great. This is a really solid camera option, but it's not going to replace your DSLR. Don't let any marketing language fool you. But if you want some of the best camera performance you can get on a phone, you're going to love this. All right, so what about that design? The G4 does have a slight curve to it. It's not as drastic as like the G Flex 2, obviously, but it's there and it's subtle. It makes holding the phone up to your ear feel a little bit more natural. And also, if you carry your phone in your back pocket, it's got a nice butt curve to it. The big story here, though, I think, is the materials that LG used. So while Samsung, the once plastic stalwart, went upscale with glass and aluminum for their S6 and S6 Edge, LG stuck to the proverbial guns here and went with plastic. Plastic all the way around. Obvious caveat, leather options are available for the back, but the phone just doesn't have that premium feel of the competition. And if LG is offering a plastic option, I'm saying to you, friends at LG, why not use the pretty cool self-healing option you get on the G Flex 2? While the plastic is a compromise, it definitely comes with a very valuable trade-off. And you know what it's going to be? Removable battery and micro SD card support up to just a ridiculous 2 terabytes. If you watched the unveiling of Samsung's Galaxy S6, you're looking at the iPhone and you thought, I need removable storage. I need to have that. It's something that I have to have with me. If you yelled at me in the comment section and saying you wanted to carry SD cards with you, if you yelled at me saying I wanted removable batteries, time to put your money where your mouth is, because the LG G4 offers that. And that's a big differentiating factor, and it's hard to do now in the smartphone world. So I want to give credit where credit's due on the software side. LG is shipping the G4 with Android 5.1 out of the box. So if you're worried about upgrades, you're going to be set for a little while. I'm kind of meh on what LG's done from the software standpoint here. They did do a lot of things to try and reduce duplicate apps this time around, which I appreciated, but the way it just looks, I wasn't a fan of. So in all candor, for most of this review, I was running Nova Launcher on here. It does offer a pretty useful multi-window support and a host of other handy features, like I think one of the most badass features, just the knock to unlock feature, as well as for codes. But double tapping to unlock is really nice. It also means you can pretty much avoid the buttons on the back, whether you like them or don't like them. It takes a while to get used to. They was kind of ambivalent to them in general. A big omission for me is also lack of a fingerprint scanner for both security and payments. Also, no wireless charging out of the box. That's annoying to me. You gotta buy a separate back to make this thing charge without wires. All right, so what about battery? Our international unit has 3,000 milliamp hours. US variant's a little bit on the lower side. It's been really solid. My average usage is off the charger around 7:30, connected to Wi-Fi networks at home or at work, so pretty much all the time. About 2 hours of calling, 2 emails being pulled down pretty much all the time. A lot more social media than I should be doing, even when I'm home. My wife's giving me this look. That's the put your phone down look. Battery was very good. I could almost get 2 full days out of it. At 1 full day though, when I would go to bed around 10:30, 11, I generally had about 55–60% of battery life left. So really solid there. All right, so what's the conclusion here on the G4? It's tough to make a phone stand out and seem unique in a slew of really good competition, but LG's done that by keeping features their phones have traditionally always had, and that is, of course, removable battery and expandable storage. If that's important to you, look no farther than the G4. You're gonna get a really solid phone. You're gonna get a good camera. You're going to get a nice screen with that cool curve to it. You're gonna get a lot of great features packed in. Some omissions here, I wish I had a fingerprint sensor on the back. I wish the speakers were at least on the bottom or front facing, but it's a very solid phone, one I can absolutely recommend. This gets a very solid 8.5 on the Techno Buffalo scale. What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree? Do you want to just yell at me more in the comments? Or do you want to come to my defense? I'd love to hear from you too. Give the video a thumbs up, we always appreciate it. Of course, hit the big subscribe button for the latest Techno Buffalo news. Until next time, I'm John Renger from Techno Buffalo. Talk to you guys in the next one.